So Donald Trump's casual musings about the potential to declare martial law reportedly have the military on red alert, but not on red alert to participate in enforcing the martial law. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The military is not on red alert preparing to enforce martial law, which is a suspension of civil law in lieu of military justice becoming the law of the land. The military is on red alert, not because they want to be prepared to help Trump. They want to be prepared in case protesters go so crazy if Trump tries to install martial law that the military might be required to help quell violence and restore order. Multiple officers who spoke to Newsweek, of course, on the condition of anonymity, agree that there's no chance whatsoever that the military would actually try to help Donald Trump overturn the results or enforce the martial law that Trump is supposedly musing and wondering about. But what the military officers are worried about is that by trying to push martial law, if Trump were to do it, that the military could end up getting sucked into having to clean up the mess that Donald Trump might make. And the thought is that Donald Trump could inadvertently or deliberately rally so-called private militias and pro-Trump paramilitary types, and the military could end up being needed to help protect from those groups. Now, the consensus is that there's no group or contingent or cabal of military officers that would actually go with Donald Trump's idea, but the military could end up needing to come to the defense of the people depending on what happens. And notably, the contingency planning is happening completely out of sight of the White House and the known Trump loyalists at the Pentagon, because the military recognizes that if you involve the White House or Trump loyalists in the Pentagon and let them know that you're planning in this way, they may actually try to interfere with what you're doing or even notify Donald Trump. And along those lines, the other crazy aspect of this is that top military brass understand that if they publicly said we would never support any attempt at martial law because Trump thinks he really won when he lost, they recognize that if they went public with their names, it could make Trump go absolutely crazy and make him more likely to try this stuff. So the reporting is that the military officer community is just kind of laying low, contingency planning out of sight, but not attaching their names to any specific public rebukes of Donald Trump's martial law musings. And to be frank, I understand that. And the question comes up of whether Donald Trump, absent support from the military, would try to pull in Blackwater type mercenary groups or others, which would be just a new level of insanity. And hopefully it will never come to that. Donald Trump just went to Florida for the holiday, and there's the idea that Trump may never even come back to Washington, D.C. Like, he may just stay in Florida. This will all fade away and be nothing, or not. We don't know. I've actually already left the country. I've not even been in the U.S. for a bit. I'm not going to be back until after the inauguration. The show will look the same. I've been mentioning, multiple studios lately. Nothing will change when we get back from New Year's break. But I'm beating the rush, and I'm just going to be elsewhere for the next period of time. Why chance it? That's my approach. And then just one last thing. This is also part of why the Electoral College should really be gotten rid of. Biden won by about 8 million votes, but about 100,000 votes in a few swing states were the margin that provided the electoral victory. The electoral victory seems much more plausibly overturnable when it comes down to 100,000 votes in a handful of states. Whereas how do you even plausibly claim to try to circumvent an 8 million vote loss? Just another signal about the importance of continuing to fight to get rid of the Electoral College. And that's even a separate issue than the Electoral College helps Republican presidents. Yes, it does. But regardless of that, there are other reasons to get rid of it. What if you could read 10 books in just one sitting? That's exactly what one of my favorite apps lets you do. It's called Blinkist. And what they do is take thousands of popular nonfiction books. They condense them down into text or audio that you can consume in 15 minutes. Blinkist makes sure that you're getting all of the important core insights from each book So it's perfect for exploring a book you otherwise wouldn't have time for. If there's a full book you're thinking about buying, you can use Blinkist to get a sample first. Just think how much you can enrich yourself by being able to soak up an entire nonfiction book in just 15 minutes. I recently checked out the book Podcast Marketing Strategy by Daniel Rolls and Kieran Rogers, and so useful, so particularly applicable to what I'm doing. Really recommend it. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.